Pendo.
Oh, hey. Welcome back. DarthHideous' Philosophy Cast. I am your host, DarthHideous, and we are back again with the second book of the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius on the River Gran among the Quadi. How's everybody doing tonight? I see the CatNinja. Shout out to the producer, CatNinja. Kind of a sleepy day. Don't know about y'all, but these things don't get any shorter, do they? Or easier. It's just go. It's kind of crap. That's good to hear, Cat. I've had a long of a day. Almost fell asleep before the stream started. That was not cool. But we made it. We made it, and we have the second book on deck. If I could remember how to do the thing. Kind of a sleepy week. Isn't it your birth week or something? Birthday week? No, I know what I didn't do. That'll get us. That'll get us there. Maybe that is why. Gotta get in the right state for meditating on the meditations. Anywho, it looks like it's just you and me and the lurkers. What do we got for lurkers? We got no lurkers on the bird platform, a couple on the YouTube side, and a couple of lurkers over in Rumble. Assume that they're all the same people because it's a perfect 5-5 split. Let's go. I accidentally took a peek at this before we started, aka in a van down by the river. In a van by the Rio Grande among the Quad-Eye with you and I. Hello, squab. Entry 1. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They're like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood or birth, but the same mind, and possessing a share of the divine. And so, none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes. Like the 2 rows of teeth, upper and lower, to obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone to turn your back on him, these are obstructions. Oh, wow. They say Marcus Aurelius was not a Christian, though it seems like he still kind of got it. Hey, Anya. Hey, Mimsy. What's happening, crew? Yeah, they can't tell good from evil. But they are just like us. I am one of them. As much as I have good interactions, I have bad ones, and I am an even share in all of that. Squab, can you tell good from evil? Sometimes I can, and sometimes I cannot. Which is why I still have a wickedness in my nature that is quite ugly indeed. This part right here, no matter how they are, to have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. So we're capable of that too. Because we are the same but we can choose not to be implicated in any of that. That's a tough decision to make. But I like how Marcus Aurelius says here not to obstruct each other because that's unnatural. And in the Bible, Jesus says not to cause each other to stumble. It's the very same concept. Like, we do need each other. I don't know. Maybe Mr. Aurelius took different inspiration from a lot of different places. But I definitely like this. This might be my favorite thing in here so far. Number 2. Whatever this is that I am, it is flesh and a little spirit and an intelligence. Throw away your books. Stop letting yourself be distracted. There's that theme again. Talk about like laser focused on shit. That is not allowed. Instead, as if you were dying right now, despise your flesh. A mess of blood, pieces of bone, a woven tangle of nerves, veins, arteries. Consider what the spirit is. Air and never the same air, but vomited out and gulped in again every instant. Finally, the intelligence. Think of it this way. You are an old man. Stop allowing your mind to be a slave, to be jerked about by selfish impulses, to kick against fate and the present, and to mistrust the future. What's up, Frogget? Marcus Aurelius is making a lot of parallels to the teachings of Christ, and this is no different. I see just a lot of parallels with all of this to what we cover on Sundays. Do not be a slave to your worldly impulses. Stay focused, stay on the path. Consider what the spirit is. It is the thing that is life. Like, it's not the body. It's really not even the mind. Although the mind will, yeah, allow you to be a slave. Be a servant, not a slave. Or so that parallel would be. It's amazing how you can find similarities in great context and such a wide range and array of teachings. Like, Because there are certain things that are just inherently for the betterment of everyone, like not being completely chaotic. Acknowledging reality for the ugly thing that it is and dealing with it the best you can. Number 3. What is divine is full of providence. Even chance is not divorced from nature. From the inweaving and unfolding of things governed by providence. Everything proceeds from it. And then there is necessity and the needs of the whole world, of which you are a part. Whatever the nature of the whole does, and whatever serves to maintain it, is good for every part of nature. Yes, this means you too. The world is maintained by change in the elements and in the things they compose. And we do still continue to see evidence for that. That should be enough for you. But I think he's trying to tell us here to just accept it and not try to figure it out or alter it or control it. We're a stubborn lot and we don't listen to shit. Treat it as an axiom. Discard your thirst for books so that you won't die in bitterness. I'm literally hearing to just get out of the library in a book. That's uh, being said unironically. Oh, the paradoxical web there. But in cheerfulness and truth, grateful to the gods from the bottom of your heart. So is he saying I should quit doing the show? Practice philosophy instead of studying it? Number 4. Remember how long you've been putting this off. What have I been putting off? Has anyone here been putting anything off? How many extensions the gods gave you and you didn't use them? Oh, this is something important. At some point, you have to recognize what world it is that you belong to. What power rules it and from what source you spring. That there is a limit to the time assigned you, and if you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and will never return. No, these are notes. Notes written to himself. We covered that. I like this one though, because time is short. And I do tend to put shit off. Delay. I could do more. I could probably always do more. And I probably should. Hey, yo, Russ. Que paso. But time is not short. Time is inf. Time on Earth is short. Make the best of it that you can. Do what you were put here to do because we're all put here to do something. And to ignore it and fight against it, it's unnatural. Find out what it is. Number 5. Concentrate every minute like a Roman. Hear that, y'all? Like a Roman. Like a man. Oh my goodness, that's not very progressive, Mr. Aurelius. We're gonna have to dock you one DIE point on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. Tenderly, willingly, and with justice. What a concept. What hypocrisy? I don't know what you're talking about. Ayo, T3. Uh, I was being sarcastic. And on freeing yourself from all other distractions. So, like, it's a super, super, super constant theme of, like, do the shit you were put here to do. Everything else is just a distraction. I wonder what Marcus Aurelius would feel of the state of things in current year, where we basically exist in a constant state of distraction. Raise your hand to the audience if you're doing what you were put here to do. Cheers. Yes, you can. If you do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life and stop being aimless, stop letting your emotions override what your mind tells you, stop being hypocritical, self centered, irritable. Oh my goodness, it's like you wrote this to me. I don't know why I'm reading it to y'all. Like, that's why I loved it so much. And it's even more damn appropriate today. You see how few things you have to do to live a satisfying and reverent life? If you can manage this, that's all even the gods can ask of you. Doesn't take much. Just do what you were put here to do, damn it. And don't be a slave to your emotions. Don't be a jackass. Huh. It really does sound like this was written specifically to me. It feels like it anyway. That's tough. Uh, Needs more manly. Number 6. Yes. Keep on degrading yourself, soul. But soon your chance at dignity will be gone. Everyone gets one life, yours is almost used up. And instead of treating yourself with respect, you have entrusted your own happiness to the souls of others. Now, I'm fairly certain that Marcus Aurelius has a little bit different view of the soul than I have, so I can't really speak to exactly what he's talking about when he's muttering to himself in this one. Oh yeah, he does not believe in salvation or eternity because it was kind of not catching on then, but he sure does espouse a lot of the same values. This part right here has been a part of my personal philosophy for a long time is to not base my worth on what anyone else thinks about me, but to be the person that I'm comfortable with at the end of the day. Because when you really break it down, like the only person you're truly stuck with is the voice in your head. So as long as you're alright with that dude, you square. But yeah, like it does to try to live to do for others constantly, like I don't know, like to let others dictate how you should live. That's that's not a thing. To do what you were put here to do, that's a thing. Ah, I do love me some Matthew. Maybe I will fall asleep listening to that tonight. Sounds like something that's definitely in the doable column. But yeah, I mean, unless you do believe in an afterlife, you really do only have the one shot at this one, so I can see exactly why living for yourself and not living for a pat on the head is verbal. A lot of people do it, but very few people actually truly do live for themselves or any higher purpose. We are a social animal, though. It is what it is. We need each other as a species. Very calm stream and links well to what you've talked about here so far. Definitely will check it out. We'll probably have a million comments in the comment section. Unless I do fall asleep, in which case there won't be anything. Numero 7. I totally spaced on siete. Oops. Do external things distract you? Sometimes. Then make time for yourself to learn something worthwhile. Okay. Stop letting yourself be pulled in all directions. This is like uh number 6 in the first two books that we've heard this not let yourself be pulled in all directions. I need a counter for certain phrases in here. Don't be distracted. Don't be like the whole overarching theme is focus. Like you were at a facility for focusing, like a focus facility. But make sure you guard against the other kind of confusion. Oh boy, it gets better. People who labor all their lives but have no purpose to direct every thought and impulse toward are wasting their time, even when hard at work. Ah, imagine being hard at work and diligently focused on something that is giving your life absolutely no purpose, like some kind of drone. No meaning. I tend to make time just to be distracted on purpose. Well, this is just one philosophy, and I don't agree with all of it, but I'm not super hyper focused either. I could definitely be doing more purposeful shit, but imagine the kind of universe we would have if everybody lived up to their maximum potential. I don't want to live in a world like that. That kind of scares me because it would be way more chaos and the rest is necessary. Like when God created the universe, he took a day off. Hello, Firsty. Think that was tried about 8 decades ago. I mean, imagine a universe where time just spins in a circle over and over again, and we just go through humanity cycles forever because we can't get it right. And people wonder why I trust God, not man. We can't even do society correctly. It's not in our nature. Everything has to be constantly changing, constantly in flux, or it stagnates and dies. I mean, that's where I'm at with it, T3. So, yeah, I'd love to hear about it. Because, I mean, this right here, the meditations, Marcus Aurelius' notes was recorded like 200 AD, and it's like, oh, look at humanity still not getting it. And then, well, you read the word. At least that's what I got when I read the word was, oh, yeah, this is, this all makes sense now. And how the people who tend to believe deeply often are the least likely as viewed by other people. Never judge a depth of belief on. I mean, that's evident enough if you look at people who are doing like life in prison, people who are doing like death row sentences and shit. Yet you'll still not find a lot of people, a group of people that have more like real raw faith. Like it's kind of crazy. Never go back to prison there, my dude. I know. Look at you and me. We're seen one way, and no one would guess the sincerity of what we keep. I mean, I don't really keep it to myself. I don't try to shove it down people's throats, but I don't really keep it to myself either. Because I was definitely called not to keep it to myself. Like, that is why that light was so dang bright. Because I was to go shine that shit on everyone. Like, look at me. Look what God has done with me, for me. Hmm. I know exactly what you mean. It's funny because people have known me my whole life, notice the difference, but they doubt the sincerity of the why when I tell them. It's like, okay, well, I guess it's true. Like, never a prophet in your own town, right? Number 8, ignoring what goes on in other people's souls. No one ever came to grief that way. But if you won't keep track of what your own soul's doing, how can you not be unhappy? I'll put it very simply. Be mindful of your own fucking business and don't worry about other people's bullshit. You are them. I mean, we have a lot of commonality threads between what you talk about and what I talk about. I've heard a lot of the same concepts I do frequently cover with what I like to read on this channel talked about and just what you like to get off your chest on your show. I mean, coincidence? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Mm. But yeah, took me a long time to realize, and I'm still not perfect at it, but What you're doing, or it's really none of my business unless you choose to make it my business. But like, I tend to wildly diverge in my beliefs with Marcus, so that you doing, you doing something to me can't hurt my character unless I let it, but I'm gonna let it. So don't try me. Number 9. Don't ever forget these things: the nature of the world, my nature, our nature, how I relate to the world, what proportion of it I make up. Huh. What is the nature of the world? Anyone here have a brief description of the nature of the world? Because it looks like a very, very controlled chaos, the world as a whole. RC race life. Fallen. I mean, that's not a terrible adjective. It's kind of broken. My nature and how I relate to the brokenness of that world. To try to be a positive force in the sphere of influence I can. And what proportion of it I make up is fucking minute in anything that looks like relevant in the grand scheme of the universe. But there's that old saying that here is my short answer to where we are. Like, that's what the nature of the world was. I already know we're on the world, in the world. What is the nature of that world? And it is quite a chaotic nature of which we are a infinitesimal proportion. That you are part of nature and no one can prevent you from speaking and acting in harmony with it always. Don't ever forget these things. Shut up, frog. That's a useless answer. You are uselessly answering a question that was never asked. Oh, and for anyone kicking it on YouTube, because this seems to have like gotten out there, I'm also live on Rumble and Zitter. Shut up, frog. You might have, but apparently this is important, so we should all make a short note of this now. Like these 5 things, especially this last part. No one can prevent you from speaking and acting in harmony with the nature of things always. Nobody but you, that is. So remember that part. Number 10. In comparing sins the way people do, Theophrastus says that the ones committed out of desire are worse than the ones committed out of anger. Really? Is greed worse than pride? That's a debate worth having. Although it's commonly accepted that pride is the worst of the deadly sins, so this that would make this bunk philosophy. But let's figure out what he means. The angry man seems to turn his back on reason out of a kind of pain and inner convulsion. Yeah, I mean, you're being less rational when anger is the emotion driving the boat. But the man motivated by desire, who is mastered by pleasure, seems somehow more self indulgent, less manly in his sins. A woman. Now it all makes sense. AWR, what's up, my dude? Oh my. Theophrastus is right and philosophically sound to say that the sin committed out of pleasure deserves a harsher rebuke than one committed out of pain. To that extent, I can understand it, where he's coming from. Like, there can be some levels of justification for certain reactions out of pain, especially when, you know, someone has done something to you to warrant it, merit it in a matter of justice. So in that regard, the angry man is more like a victim of wrongdoing provoked by pain to anger. The other man rushes into wrongdoing on his own, moved by moved to action by desire. Yeah, that's a more mindful, more calculated. The mindset to do wrong is much higher in that regard. Yeah, I agree. 11. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If the gods exist, then to abandon human beings is not frightening. The gods would never subject you to harm. And if they don't exist or don't care what happens to us, what would be the point of living in a world without gods or providence? But they do exist, they do care what happens to us. And everything a person needs to avoid real harm, they have placed within him. Okay. If there were anything harmful on the other side of death, they would have made sure that the ability to avoid it was within you. Yeah, there's a definite common thread here. It would have been cooler if Marcus had been born earlier and could have met Jesus. Like, he probably would have been not preaching the Roman gods. I don't know. I mean, still a Roman. Ugh. If it doesn't harm your character, how can it harm your life? Nature would not have overlooked such dangers through failing to recognize them, or because it saw them but was powerless to prevent or correct them. Nor would it ever, through inability or incompetence, make such a mistake as to let good and bad things happen indiscriminately to good and bad alike. But death and life, success and failure, pain and pleasure, wealth and poverty, all these happen to good and bad alike. And they are neither noble nor shameful, and hence neither good nor bad. Nope, they are just what it is. And the one truth of life that we are constantly trying to avoid addressing these days, well, not us, but people at large, is that life is inherently unfucking fair. And sometimes really terrible, awful shit happens to really great people. And some people get to serve in the highest ranks of government, which is objectively speaking like beneficial things happening to very terrible people. I'm not gonna get into a political rant today, but I'm getting sick of watching the fucking news. Might just stop doing that and start watching golf. I wonder if there's like Japanese golfers on YouTube. That'd be interesting. Talk about a distraction. But the fact that like just the nature of things in our life is neither good nor evil. It's just what it is. Like good and evil are things that are generated specifically from within us. They're not things that happen. They are things we do, things we think, things we feel. That is the source of that which is wicked, that is like that is evil or good. I watch other propaganda. When I say the news, I don't mean like on a television set. I mean just the things that are happening in the world. Ridiculous. It's not even over yet. Like this is the slowest, most like dreadfully boring while attempting to be heavy with the shock and awe apocalypse ever. Number 12. The speed with which all of them vanish. The objects in the world and the memory of them in time. And the real nature of the things our senses experience, especially those that entice us with pleasure or frighten us with pain or are loudly trumpeted by pride. Okay, I have to make notes again. To understand those things, how stupid, contemptible, grimy, decaying, and dead they are, This dude is like a militant Puritan. And to understand what those people really amount to, ooh, get dissed. Whose opinions and voices constitute fame. Get dissed, but not without merit. And what dying is, and that if you look at it in the abstract and break down your imaginary ideas of it by logical analysis, you realize that it's nothing but a process of nature which only children can be afraid of. And not only a process of nature, but a necessary one. And how man grasps God, with what part of himself he does so, and how that part is conditioned when he does. There's a whole hell of a fucking lot in this 12th entry here. And about the first part, I just have to shake my head because it's true, like, the fleetingness of everything, those distractions, as they are noted, they're come and go, and they're usually nothing more than, yeah, stupid, contemptible, grimy, decaying, and dead things. Things that don't actually give purpose again. That's hell of a theme. And then, yeah, there's a whole commentary on death, and guess what? We're all going to do it. So, not only a process of nature, but a necessary one. But how a man grasps God with what part of him he does, and how that part is conditioned. Got to do it with your heart, with your soul, and have to be conditioned by faith. 13. Nothing is more pathetic than people who run around in circles, delving into the things that lie beneath and conducting investigations into the souls of the people around them, never realizing that all you have to do is to be attentive to the power inside you and worship it sincerely. Ah, these busybodies, these gossip mongers, the lowbrow folk who spend their time thinking more about what others are about than being about their own shit. Commentators. To worship it is to keep it from being muddied with turmoil and becoming aimless and dissatisfied with nature, divine and human. What is divine deserves our respect because it is good. What is human deserves our affection because it is like us, which is to say, flawed. and our pity too, sometimes, for its inability to tell good from bad, as terrible a blindness as the kind that can't tell white from black. This is a very spiritual philosophy when you get right down to it. I also see this as people who prey on other people that target them and play with their minds to figure them out. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna find those types too. Best to be aware when people are trying to game you, but sometimes too much awareness can lead to a very heightened paranoia. And I would know I've met a couple of people who are prone to some excessive paranoia over my lifetime, and sometimes you do have to take things as they are, but be cognizant of changes in that, of inconsistencies, if you will. But this is a very spiritual commentary, and again, with the common overlapping threads, you're not paranoid. I mean, the correct thought there is just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. 14. Even if you're going to live 3,000 more years or 10 times that, it's a lot. That's too many years, yo. Remember, you cannot lose another life than the one you're living now. So you don't have a respawn button. Or live another one than the one you're losing. I like that. I need to write that down. You cannot lose another life than the one you're living now, or live another one than the one you're losing. I like that a lot. The longest amounts to the same as the shortest. That's true. It's not about how many days you have, it's about what you do with your days. The present is the same for everyone. Its loss is the same for everyone, and it should be clear that a brief instant is all that is lost. For you can't lose either the past or the future. How could you lose what you don't have? All you have is right now. You can't get back what has already been, and you can't grasp what has not yet come to pass. All you have is right now. This is a thread that has been in every single book we've done, and it does bear repeating in any even just base level contemplation of philosophy that time only flows the one direction, and you really only have the moment. Be present in that. Don't waste your time. That is beautiful. Oh, wait, there's still more. Remember two things. One, that everything has always been the same. Are you shitting me? How many times have I said that? I mean, tonight. And keeps recurring. And it makes no difference whether you see the same things recur in 100 years or 200 or in an infinite period. I mean, this shouldn't be a hard one to remember in you. This is one that I constantly am saying, like, everything is just on a loop. It's always been the same. Like, we're here in 2024. Things were the same in 1998 when the 48 Laws of Power were written. They were the same in 1647 when The Art of Worldly Wisdom was written. They were the same in 161 when the Meditations were written. And they've always been the fucking same. Like, everything is always the same. Nothing changes except for the, like, names and faces. And it makes no difference how long you live. It's always going to be the same. And number two, that the longest lived and those who will die soonest lose the same thing. The present is all they can give up, since that is all you have, and what you do not have, you cannot lose. So, really, when you die, all you lose is the moment that you're in at that moment that you die. For the times they are a not really changing. Not so much. Although they do be changing, it's just a skin. Reskin it, run it again. 15. Everything is just an impression. Monimus the Cynic. And the response is obvious enough, but the point is a useful one if you take it for what it's worth. What's the obvious response to everything is just an impression? For those listening, there is a present. The obvious response is no, dummy. That's not the case. Some things are an impression and some things are definitely like, that's a hard fact. But the point is a useful one if you take it for what it's worth, which isn't a whole hell of a lot other than in the context of, I don't know, what you think about things being an impression. Your opinions are just an impression. That's useful enough. 16 is the human soul degrades itself. Yes, it does. That is why we all need more Jesus in our lives. Because the human soul, it cannot take care of itself. It is a broken thing and it cannot fix itself. Just that's just my opinion. Like, your opinion may vary, but hell yes it does. Oh, there's there's subsections. Above all, when it does its best to become an abscess, a kind of detached growth on the world. To be disgruntled at anything that happens is a kind of secession from nature, which comprises the nature of all things. Mm. When it turns its back on another person or sets out to do it harm, as the souls of the angry do, vengeful nature, 3, when it is overpowered by pleasure or pain. 4, when it puts on a mask and does or says something artificial or false. Okay, so we already discussed the pleasure and pain issue earlier, but since we're in such a recurring themes, we're going to note it again. In fact, we've pretty much talked about all of these things, but this part here, the deceptive uh manipulation, that's new to the book, but yeah, that is a degradation of the soul. When it allows its action and impulse to be without a purpose, to be random and disconnected. I think I fall prey to this way more than I'd like to admit. Even the smallest things ought to be directed toward a goal. But the goal of rational beings is to follow the rule and law of the most ancient of communities and states. I mean, speak for yourself. I ain't about following no damn government. Damn illegitimate bullshit. But I do like order and peace. I wish I was a more peaceful person. I'll pray for it, but I struggle. It's something I struggle to let go of. My constant clinging on to the world when I need to just fully commit to letting it all go. 17. Human life. This would be your mortal existence. Duration, momentary. Nature, changeable. Perception, dim. Condition of body, decaying. Soul, spinning around. Fortune, unpredictable. Lasting fame, uncertain. Summary: the body and its parts are a river, the soul a dream and mist. Life is warfare and a journey far from home. Lasting reputation is oblivion. Well, that, my friend, is a pretty spot on dissection till you get to the summary. I mean, life isn't always warfare, but sometimes it is. And sometimes it is a journey far from home. I don't know about having a lasting reputation being oblivion. I haven't had a time to establish a current reputation, much less have any reach to see if it lasts. Then what can guide us? Only philosophy, which means making sure that the power within stays safe and free from assault, superior to pleasure and pain, doing nothing randomly or dishonestly, and with imposture, not dependent on anyone else's doing something or not doing it. That's interesting right there. Not dependent on anyone else's doing something or not doing it. Like, what other people do shouldn't have any sway over who you are. And making sure that it accepts what happens and what it is dealt as coming from the same place it came from. And above all, that it accepts death in a cheerful spirit as nothing but the dissolution of the elements from which each living thing is composed. From the dirt we were raised, and to the dirt we shall be returned. If it doesn't hurt the individual elements to change continually into one another, why are people afraid of all of them changing and separating? It's a natural thing, and nothing natural is evil. It's just nature. But first, one shot knows something that is pure evil: pot needles. Right, Firsty? Pot needles. Oh, wow. Book two. In the books. What did you miss, Inya? Did I say pot needles? Yes. Pot needles are evil. First one shot told me. Bad and unnatural, see? First one shot agrees. Ugh. Well, book two was an interesting little spiritual journey down by the river. Van not included. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been a short stream, but we did make it all the way through book two. And I don't want to necessarily start into book three not knowing exactly how long it is. Like, I could look at it, but I think a shorter stream tonight isn't unreasonable. Saturday, if book three only takes an hour, we'll definitely have to do book three and four because I won't have any reason not to want to engage that, and I might actually be functioning at capacity. But this was fun little journey on the on the river on the River Grand with the Quadi among the Quadi. Like, seems to be a very spiritual group. Yeah. So just in time for the evil pot needles. I hope everybody can make it noon on Saturday. It'll definitely be that's 420, isn't it? Oh, yeah. I am doing a 420 stream on Saturday, but the meditation stream's at noon. Like, I expect the 420 stream to be later in the day. So that'll be a double stream Saturday. Uh, Outsiders will probably be joining me for the 420 stream. Maybe some of my other indulgent friends will stop in. Sup, Castro? Cheers, y'all. But anyway, I think we're going to call this one here. I get up at 4:20 on 4:20 to start the day. Thank you for coming, Mimsy, and shout out to all the folks. We got 3 that made it to the end on the Bird platform, 7 on the YouTubes, 12 of y'all gang on Rumble. Hit follow buttons, smash thumbs ups and like buttons, and if you think the meditations could be useful to someone, hit that share button and let them know that you support DarthHideous is what he's doing and that it does have a purpose. But that, with all of that said, I will catch you guys back here on Saturday for the double stream. Until then, be safe out there and whatnot, and don't forget to live with purpose because you only get the one. So protect it, protect your character and your integrity and all of that thing. I'll see you Saturday, guys. Darth Hideous. Out.